Hello, everybody, and guess who is with us today in the house? This is Serge SIMO, who is project manager and senior consultant at DreamAlec. Serge has over 20 years of experience in telecommunications and information technology in various companies, primarily as a PMO evangelist with an engineering and executive MBA background, a true PMO transformation leader with PMP, CB-PMO, TOGAF, digital transformation, and ITIL certifications. He has led a number of very large and successful cross-organizational projects and is a specialist in project management, change management, business analysis, solution design, enterprise architecture. Serge is a digital transformation enabler with a passion for driving innovation and creating value for organizations and people. He has a strong passion for sharing his knowledge, which is why he enjoys delivering technical or leadership training. He is a certified trainer for crucial accountability leadership training, PMO management training, among others. Serge believes that project management is a catalyst for development and that everyone should be able to benefit from it. Serge, welcome aboard.
Well, thanks, Dora. Thanks for this nice introduction.
Well-deserved, Serge. And one of the really interesting questions that I thought about every time I met you was like, you are, talented and you are an expert in so many fields. Why did you choose to specialize in project management and PMO?
Well, you mentioned two words, project management and also so maybe let me start on project management. As you know, project management is of planning, organizing, controlling, executing a project to achieve a specific goal, right? In that course, you have the opportunity to learn every day something different, because no project is equal to the other. So you realize that as you go from one project to other, you keep learning new things. And that speaks a lot to me. I like to discover new things. I like to make sure that what I'm doing has a positive impact on others. Right. So that is a part of project management. And like you rightly said, I strongly believe that project management is a key pillar for the development, especially for Africa. That is at individual level, right? You mentioned also the project management office. That's what we call the PMO. Deliver one project is one thing. Being able to sustain the quality of your project delivery is another stuff, and that requires many other things. It's where we call the PMO. So the PMO help you to put together a kind of standard that people will follow to replicate the success that you have. It's why I really love to work as a PMO manager and also as a project manager.
By the way, Serge, just for the audience who are watching us who are not specializing in PMO, what's the difference between a PMO department and a PMP department, or a project management department?
You may realize that there is no significant difference, or I can even say it's almost the same. Because within the department who has the ultimate objective of delivering project, they have their project portfolio. You have somebody who is accountable for the whole portfolio, and that person should make sure that everything is put together to guarantee the success of the entire portfolio. In that sense, yes, you may call PMO, you may call it a project department or whatever.
Oh, got you. So it depends on it can actually service in the same way And I know you are specifically also referring to the markets in Africa, but I mean, each company has to designate exactly what needs to come as the roles and responsibilities of this department.
Definitely, definitely. And something that is very important to have in that department is what we call the process, right? You have to have people, of course. So without people, because people are at the heart of the activity. Yes, you have to have people, then you also have to have the processes in place. And when you have the processes in place, you should make sure that you have the right tools to own everything. Without tools today, it's very difficult to be at a certain level in terms of performance. And, you know, today we're talking a lot about the artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is playing very key role today in the sense that that helps you to, you know, get away from all the basic routines and focus on what is really relevant, what is key for your achievement.
Yeah, especially with technology, of course, like, I mean, we have the right process, using the right tools, especially with this kind of technology that we have with us right now, it is the high time to actually, you know, maximize and, you know, improve processes. Absolutely. I know that your basic dream is to become the #1 go-to company in Africa entirely. And I want to ask you, like, why would you have, why is this preference, this, I feel like, you know, pressing preference that you have, that you want to really service markets specifically in Africa? You are a French speaker. Your first language in speaking is French. You speak great English. Why would you want to specifically hone and zoom into Africa, Serge?
Thanks for the question, Doa. You know, don't we say that charity begins at home?
True.
Yeah, so I think it makes sense to me to immediately impact those around you before pretending to go elsewhere. All right, so I am an African. I currently live in Africa, and you know, have a big dream for Africa. People used to talk about Africa like a poor country, non-developed country, or our continent. You know, well, this is a great opportunity for us, and guess what? Everybody's not required to follow exactly the same path. You have Europe, they are already well developed, right? We don't have to go through the same struggle like they did before reaching where they are. Today, we can immediately jump and get to their place. And one key point is the way we manage our project, the way we plan our project, the way we initiate our project, right? The way we follow our project. We can only develop ourselves if we are able to manage properly our project. I strongly believe in that.
The question that came to mind now, Serge, how, and this is a hard one, and it's hard in real life as well. How can you make the, you know, Africa is a very old continent with very big history. And how can you make the teams who are in projects actually start to begin to believe in themselves and start changing their mindsets to start believing that they can be global vendors and global sellers and global, you know, implementers of this amazing, you know, technology, using the amazing technology that we have, using the processes which are shared basically everywhere in the world. Now, a barrier can be the mindset, like, can I do it? Can I actually start, you know, becoming this global team member, global project manager? How do you tackle this, Serge? How do you make people start to change their mindset to start acting up in a way of becoming a new person, new mindset?
Well, good question. Good question, Doa. there's one thing that we used to call best practices, right? Proven to be working approaches. Yeah, I think if you want to excel in a domain, the minimum is to, first start using what is proven to be working. All right. Talking about it, we have many standards in project management, well, depending on the approach, because today agility is becoming very famous and more than required, right? So people must acquire the appropriate skills in agility, and even in the normal, a classic project management, what we used to call the waterfall approach. Yeah, it's good to go and learn. It's good to absorb. There's one thing promoted by the PMI. It's called the PMBOK. In the PMBOK, you have a set of all the approaches, the methodology that if you follow will guarantee the success of a project. If you believe that the approach that you should use to effectively deliver your project is the agility, yes, so be it. You go, you make sure that you master the agile methodology. We talk about Scrum Master. You can even have Kanban and so on and so forth. But above everything, and based on my experience, I realized that there are two things that strongly impact the delivery of project. The first one is the communication. Usually, the success of your project will depend on the way you communicate. Will depend on the way you communicate with your stakeholders. And remember that every stakeholder has his own view on what you're doing, and he's expecting something that is specific to him. And as a project manager, you should make sure that you understand that need and that you communicate with him appropriately, in the sense that it's not that he will feel safe. He will feel like, okay, this is the man who is going to deliver what I'm expecting. That is one thing. Communication. The second thing is the collaboration.
That's the hard one too. That's a very hard one.
Yeah. Running the projects, require people. It's true that you still need technology. You need skills, but you must have people handling the different tasks that should contribute to the achievement of the ultimate goal. And depending on the way you manage them, depending on the way you are able to pull them together, to lie them to the ultimate goal, your success will come. So just to say it short, communication, effective collaboration, and that's require leadership. I have got it. Without the leadership, very difficult. And when I mention leadership, there's one thing that I used to put out, is emotion intelligence.
Yes.
Project managers in our today's world must really exercise their emotional intelligence. That is something very great.
Is emotional intelligence,
you have somebody who is able to.
Is emotional intelligence something that people can learn, Serge? Is emotional intelligence something that people can grow?
Well, there are different theories, in that concept. There are people who think that, okay, by native, people are emotionally intelligent, but I believe that everybody can develop that skill. Everybody. Because what is emotional intelligence? First of all, is know who you are,
yes,
right? Understanding yourself.
Yes.
right? Understanding your emotion. Learn to deal with your emotion, how to effectively use your emotion for a positive result,
Yes.
right? That is managing yourself. And when you are able to manage yourself, only by then you can pretend to go and manage others, right? You go, you manage others. When you are able to manage others, yeah, you can develop a kind of relationship where everybody can feel like safe, happy to contribute. Everybody is doing his maximum to make the project a successful one, right? So that is a key part of it. I strongly believe that it's something that everybody must learn. If you are not able to do it by native, there are means to do it. There are men. It's usually practice. Just read, right? Don't just read. You have to practice. There's one thing, for instance, there are people who don't know how to speak in the crowd, in the public. Everybody can speak in the public. You just need to practice. By nature, you may be, it might be very easy for you, but for others, they need to practice. You can even go in front of the mirror, you learn how to speak, you see how you're behaving, you see your face, and so on. And at the end, you are a good communicator.
Or having a coach too, that can be handy.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
You mentioned something very important, though. In our environment, I realize that sometimes people think like having a coach, it's just a nice to have.
Stigma.
No. People think it's just a nice to have. No. A coach has a very, very important point in the achievement of your goal. Let's take an example. In our country, we like football.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a football team without a coach?
Oh, it's a big chaos.
Very difficult, right? So, human being as an individual, how can somebody believe that he can be so successful without somebody else who time to time can just tell him that, okay, you're already doing very great in this area. Maybe if you can turn a little bit this part, you'll be perfect. Coach is very important.
Serge, when you say this, this is like a very interesting observation. People will be okay with having a coach who leads them into fitness or in sports because they're okay to think somebody, it can lead their body. It's fine. But then sometimes I noticed in some regions, maybe in all of the world, people will be like sort of stand back a bit when they find somebody to lead their thinking. And because they probably know there's going to be a change in their thinking, and that can be scary for some.
Yeah, definitely. But at the end, I think it's all about be ready to get out of your comfort zone, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
You cannot pretend to do something different if you do it exactly the way you used to do it.
Nothing's happening on the outside.
So if you want to improve, well, you should just expose yourself a little bit. You should try something else. You should, even accept that somebody else share his own view, and you see what could be the difference between yours and what has been shared. Well, yeah.
Yeah, because it's a matter of awareness. It's like you said, when it comes to emotional intelligence, I can't see my blind spots. I need my coach or my mentor or my, trainer to be able to tell me, hey, you're not doing this the right way. You have a twist here, or you're not saying that the right way. And it takes somebody from the outside, because anybody, any of us, it's like the Johari model, they cannot actually see sometimes there are things which that they can see. They know, yeah, I know I need improvement in this area, but there are other areas, and that's the most dangerous part, where they cannot see they need improvement.
Yeah. Guess what, Doa? I think you have people who don't like it just because they don't know, because they don't have the right information.
So true.
Yes, and I say I like what we call the best practices.
Yes.
People usually imagine when you are watching a scene, I mean a movie, for instance, or something else, or maybe a concert.
Yeah.
People singing, playing music, and you are happy to see what is happening. Everybody thinks like, okay, they just come and they try it. No, there is behind the scene, before reaching to that level, they work a lot. They practice it, all right?
So true.
And the day they have to deliver their concert, then they do what they have practiced. Usually when you have a person taking a new big hole, that's what we call induction. The aim of the induction is to make sure that we provide to that person the appropriate tools, right? Appropriate skills, whatever, that will help him to succeed in that position. So we should learn it, right? Very
Absolutely.
important.
Absolutely. That's why I
Behind the
think, yeah,
success,
empathy is so
there's
important.
always a heavy work.
That's why empathy and sympathy from the coach or the trainer towards the learner or the team member is so huge. How now you mentioned collaboration, communication, emotional intelligence, Serge, as key, and of course leadership as key factors for teams to function. And what can you do to leverage teams who you are working with? Because I can come to my office and sign papers and have meetings, but from the inside, I have resistance. I don't want this to happen. I don't like that person. I have challenges with this person. Projects are very, like multi-layered. What do you do to help leverage these teams and take out these internal barriers?
Yeah, good question, Dora. Very good one. I mentioned something. People like to do what they used to do, generally speaking, right? Even the moment you come with a new concept, the normal behavior is to first say, please. And well, meaning if you want people to move to another direction where you believe it's the right way, you should have a specific approach. And there is one thing that we call change management. And change management is a whole concept, and there are different approaches, right? And there are different theories behind it. I can name one. That is a John Kotter. John Kotter has a theory that encompasses like 8 steps to move from one stage to another. It's very important to, first of all, understand the fear of your stakeholder. When you understand the fear of your stakeholder, you try and find a solution for that. Why is in that mood? Okay, what can I do in order to put him in the safe area? Please, you should always like good things to happen to people. So you should always keep in mind, you should have a very positive intention in whatever you're doing. That's very key. And when you do that, you understand the fear and you highlight the benefit, what I call best practices in project management, best practices, PMO management. Yeah. And behind that, you understand that there is also what we call leadership best practices. And it's something that somebody cannot just say he masters, right? We learning every day. I learn every day. And by sharing the knowledge, you also learn. Yeah.
Serge, like that's so true. And it's very interesting to actually start even thinking about like, how deep people are and how far you need to go in order to make people change their behavior to service, to offer this kind of service to their markets, to their communities. And this is why I wanted to also ask you, what is your dream for project managers in Africa? What do you want to see happening, Serge, because of you?
Well, good question. Project management is my passion. I'm so passionate about project management. I like to see that everybody around me is very key in project management. And my dream is, being able to um, contribute to get more and more people who are interested by project management. Because guess what? Normally, everybody in the world, they do project management, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you do in your life is project management, being on family stuff, being in the professional area, everywhere we do project management. But how do we do it? Right? There are people who struggle in many stuff just because they're lacking the appropriate skills.
Yes.
So I like to there's the word says democratize. In French, we say démocratiser, right? Sorry for my French. But it's just to spread out the best practices, making sure that everybody feel like, okay, I have what is required for me to effectively achieve my goal, to effectively deliver my project. What I'm doing is I've launched a series of trainings. I want to deliver a series of trainings, going deeply in all the pieces of project management, of PMO management, getting people to know how we initiate a project.
Yes.
Right. What are the key considerations that we must take in order to secure the delivery of the project? How we plan the project? How should we plan the project? There's one example, event. There are people, everybody is called at the point of time to organize an event. But most of the time, people are struggling, right? So even if you want to organize your marriage, your anniversary, and so on, something very basic. It's very
family
basic.
gatherings, yeah, can get so tricky.
Yeah. I prefer to mention this before moving to what is big, what is more complex, because dealing with complex projects require also some specific skill. I want to share all those stuff in the world. I want to share, those best practices to whoever come to me, whoever discover the name of Serge, or even through my company, that is Dream Lake. Yeah, we want to position ourselves like a key provider of the scarce skills.
Yes.
That help to achieve tremendous result.
Do you think that the only people who come to you and who realize and are aware of the change that needs to happen in their lives in project management are the ones who truly learn? Or do you think you can still influence people who are not aware of why they need to improve?
Well, in your question, there are two main aspects. I mean, we're living in a small village now, right? We're living in a small village in the sense that whatever we do, there are means to make it available to everybody in the entire world. So when you share some topics on internet, yeah, you cannot imagine. You may impact somebody who is very, very far from you. And that is the beauty of the concept. That is very important. Um, so we deliver, I intend to deliver online training that will break the barrier of location. So yes, my main target is Africa, but I don't pretend to stop, to prevent others to enjoy what we're doing. We have to be open and remember, as you teaching something to somebody, you also learning, right? You also have the opportunity to get additional view point. Yeah.
So you think when you are training and coaching people, whether inside of Africa or outside globally, the repetition and consistency that you show them will eventually influence them, whether they are ready for change or not?
Yeah. Well, you touching another point. Ready to change or not. Well, you can only learn if you want to learn. Very important. All right. There are people who should be influenced by somebody else to get into the right direction. And for that, yeah, it's very important for us to, play a key role there. What we're doing today, I'm sure will impact others. All right. Because sometimes if you are not exposed to something, you may not even realize that that thing exists. So the simple fact that we communicating, we sharing information, somebody will say, wow, I can do that differently. Let me go and deep dive in the topic. Yeah. So that's one way to influence people to move, to change.
Yeah, that's so true. And basically, it's also being influenced by whoever is around you. So even if they're not ready for change and they are surrounded with people who are ready for change, that will also be something maybe who opens people's awareness. It's a big mission to start making people open their awareness to areas that they were not previously, recognizing as areas of wanting to grow stronger at. And that brings me to that question, Serge. So you say I wanna be, my vision is becoming the #1 go-to company in Africa. I have a lot to do in order to build layers and layers of strength in employees or project management team members, communication, collaboration skills, leadership skills. And you want to influence people on multiple levels, multi-layers that has to do with leadership, collaboration, communication, emotional intelligence. So you're looking to building a huge thing, Serge. You want to influence a lot of people out there in Africa, a lot of people who need you. Like, how would you want them to envision you as? What is the role that you would personally want to play in these people's lives?
Okay. Thank you, Doa. Well, I really want to impact positively the life of people by sharing my experience, by sharing the best practices, right? By pushing them toward a good objective, getting them to move, to start changing the way they used to do things in such to improve the success, improve the probability to meet their objective. Yeah, so I want to be seen as a coach, a life coach, somebody who brings, tips, right, to improve their life.
Wow, and certainly, Serge, I mean, this is a big mission. Africa is a very rich continent in terms of natural resources and people. And I think if you, as soon as you hit the mark, a lot of changes can be actually happening in the economy of this entire continent.
Definitely. Well, there's something that usually is not good to say. When we go through the different countries, even my own country, we see that there are many projects that start involving a lot of money, right? Huge budget. Sometimes, or most of the time, it's not clear when those projects will end. It's not even clear if what will be the outcome of that project. For me, this is a waste, right? So if you are able to influence people in such that whenever they start an initiative, they put everything together to secure the success of the project, I think we will have, contribute a little bit. We will bring our small pieces in changing the humanity, because that is very great in life.